Hello my dudes! It's been so long! Welcome back to my little corner of the internet. If you're new here, I'm Evan, and I knit things, and do lots of other crafts, and read lots of books. And if you're a regular, welcome back. I'm so glad you're all here! I've missed you so much. Today I have for you episode number 8. Today is Thursday, April 30th. I know it's not the day I usually record. I usually record on Fridays, but it's fine. We haven't had an episode in over a month. The last one I filmed was on March 19th. I filmed it on March 19th. It came out, I think, on the 20th, but needless to say, we have a lot to talk about. So, let's jump right in. First of all, let's do a little IRL update. Where have I been? Let's see. My neurologist decided to change my migraine medication, and it has taken this long to have even a semblance of normalcy. I am hoping that I have reached the phase where I am acclimated to it and we can like proceed as usual, but we'll just have to see. I hope that's the case. I've been feeling pretty normal the past few days, brain-wise. I also had an ear infection in there, so that's been, let's just add that to the pile. I mean, normal for my brain. I am also having some unpleasant side effects with the new meds, but we're hoping that it will help more than my previous medication did, since it's more closely related to my rescue meds, which work great. So we're really hoping for like at least one pain-free day. That would be incredible. I haven't not had a migraine in almost 4 years, so that would be great, but we'll see. I'm not gonna hold my breath for that. We're just looking for the baseline normal. Okay, so I have a lot of things to talk to you guys about. I have a stack of finished objects. Actually, I forgot one that I finished yesterday. Hold please. Now, in terms of the fact that I've been not doing well this whole time, that I have been missing, in the context that it's been like 5 to 6 weeks, there's not that much knitting. The first 3 weeks of medication change, I literally did nothing. I couldn't do anything. So there's a lot of stuff for me to talk to you about, but there's also not a lot of stuff for me to talk to you about considering the amount of time. So I also have only one acquisition, and then we can do books. I won't tell you every book I've read since the last time we talked because that would take forever, but I'll tell you what I'm currently reading and all the 5-star reads that I've read since we last talked. So let's start with finished objects. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 finished objects. This one, but we're not going to talk about that yet. First, let's do cross stitch. So last time we talked, I was working on this one. Got Leafeon. Which is now finished. It's very cute. And then Glaceon. And that finished out all of my evolutions. So then I had to start a new set. So I also finished Charmander. And then I have one that's a whip, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, the next finished object, this right here. This is the Willow Pullover by Andrea Gaughan. Let's see. Yarn I used for this is Lion Brand 100% Merino DK. The colorway is Quail. I started this on, did I really not write it in here? Oh, there it is. I started it on March 8th and finished it on March 24th. I will say caveat, this yarn says it's DK, it's really more of a sport weight. So if you want something slightly lighter than a DK, great. If you need a heavy DK, this is not the yarn to use for it. I really enjoyed this yarn. I will definitely use it again, but not for something that like really needs to be a true DK or a heavy DK. Modifications, the only modification I made to this pattern was I did one more repeat in the body, and that was it. That was it. Everything else is exactly to pattern. I love it. Oh, no, there was one more. This is supposed to be a folded over collar. I didn't want that. I like a folded over collar when it's supposed to be like a cozy, warm, like winter knit, but this is clearly, like, it's full of eyelets, clearly a spring fall knit, so I didn't want a folded over collar. I think that's it for this. This was also on my Make 9. It was the fifth thing I finished on my Make 9. I'll show you the page in a minute, because there's another one that I finished on my Make 9. Now, since we talked last, I started and finished these. This is the Through the Trees socks by Annabeth of Annabeth is Knitworthy. Yarn I used is from Claws Out Yarn Company. This is the Rose sock set from her That's Amore collection. I believe the yellow is Why Do Boys Chase Girls, and this one I think is Sweetheart Liquors, but I could be wrong. These are my Bigfoot socks. I love them. I still need to trim the ends. They're all blocked, but I need to trim the ends. I just finished these a few days ago. They look so good. These were also on my Make 9. So, here's my Make 9. 6 things finished, 3 things left, one of which is a whip that we'll talk about when we get to whips. But we're making some good progress. I suppose today we could also do a journal update. I mean, most of the other things to talk about in my journal right now are reading related. I can show you my... Okay, so here's my Craft 26 and 26 page. That's how many things I've finished so far this year. 18 things. Then you just saw my Make 9 page. Here's my spinning and cross stitch page. These are all the cross stitches I've finished, and that's the spinning project I finished. Bingo. That's what the bingo page is looking like. We do have a bingo diagonally, and that's the only one so far. I didn't write down when I got it. It would have been in February. And that's pretty much it. until we get to books. We can talk about the rest in books. So back to finished objects. Last thing I finished, okay, caveat with this one. This was a mystery gnome knit along. It's called Berry Cozy Gnome by Schira. The whole thing has been released, but like the end of the mystery knit along has not happened yet. So if you don't want to see it yet, if you're working on it because you haven't finished it yet, skip ahead to WIPs. Okay? Alright. The first clue for this came out on April 15th, and the last one came out on the 25th. I didn't start it until the 27th. I couldn't figure out what yarn I wanted to use, so I wanted to see the finished thing to decide. So I decided when I saw the finished gnome, and I went through just my scrap bin, and I knew I wanted fuzzy yarn for this one because he's a bear. Very cozy. So we just have some scrap Surrey and some scrap, I think it's just like polyester fluffy yarn. I don't remember where it's from or how long I've had it. And then I only know what one of the colors is, but here he is. Isn't he cute? Oh my gosh. He's so cute. So this pink color is from Fangirl Fibers. It was part of the Dark Academia Countdown. It was one of the minis. And this color, well, this one is two held together. This one's a Surrey from Inspire a Mind, and then this darker color and this were like a variegated. And this I held double, and this I held double, which I didn't really need to do. It wasn't quite a lace weight, but it wasn't quite a fingering weight either. But I finished this guy yesterday. He's very cute. I believe his name is Nettie, like Teddy with a GN. He's very cute. I like his little ears. And he's got a little bear hoodie. It's so cute. Like, yeah, he's adorable. I'm very pleased to add him to my gnome collection. So, that's the last finished object. Okay, so I suppose that brings us up to WIPs. Okay. Yeah. So first WIP. This is really like the thing that I've been working on the most. I do have a sample for Purl Soho right now. It was a set of two things. They are both very large and taking up a very large amount of time. I got them in March and they're due in 2 weeks, and I'm still not done, if that tells you anything. This one I am slightly over halfway done with. It is not going to fit in this bag past today. But I'm hoping to have it finished early by next week because I'm sick of it. It's very easy knitting. I don't even need to think about it. It's just so big. So, one of them is done, one of them is not done. It's taking forever. But this is what most of the knitting has been, which is why there's not more knitting finished objects. Then cross stitch. Of course, we were doing Charmander, so here's Charmeleon. I have one color left on him, and then he'll be finished too. Okay, then 3 more WIPs. We're just going to do smallest to largest. So also on my Make 9 is the If You Knit You Know hat. I already made one of them this year, but it wasn't the one that I had originally intended when I put it on my Make 9. But this one is. So the If You Knit You Know hat is a free pattern by Purl Soho. This is the beginning of it. Look at that color. Oh my gosh. This is from Asylum Fibers. This colorway is called Ultramarine, and yes it is. This is their Merino DK base. It's just 100% Merino. I really have to sing the praises of Asylum Dye Works. I had heard of them, but I'd never purchased from them. I won a little like pack of random yarn. It was like 2 full skeins and like a little mini set of random minis. None of them go together. Do you see how blue this is? Normally, from like any dyer, a blue like this would rub off on your hands, would rub off on your needles. This doesn't. At all. At all. I'm so impressed. Next time I am like wanting to buy hand-dyed yarn, I'm going for Asylum Fibers. I don't know if they're more of a pre-order or in-stock company, but first of all, this blue is absolutely gorgeous. I knit on this for an hour and a half last week while I was at the doctor. Nothing on my finger. Nothing. Nothing on my hands. And I was sweaty too because I was so anxious. Like, I'm so impressed. It feels gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. Seriously. So impressed. I'm only working on this when I'm in the car or out and about. So this is going to be on the needles for a while. I did finish the folded over brim, and we have like, let's see, 40 more rows or rounds before the decreases. So you'll be seeing this for a while. I don't leave my house that often. I've had a lot of doctor's appointments recently though. That's the only reason this has this much done on it. But we're in no hurry for that one, even though it is on the Make 9. If it takes until December to finish it, that's fine. I'm going to try to not obsess or freak out about it. At some point it will bother me, but I am going to attempt to ignore that until then. Next project. Okay, this is the Iris sweater by Trin Annelie. You guys saw my swatch for it forever ago, or maybe you didn't, I don't remember. I think you did though. I eventually cast the sweater on. When did I cast it on? Let's look. March 25th. So, yes. I don't know if you saw the swatch or not. I think you probably did. But all of the yarn is from Knitting for Olive. It's their fingering merino base. Colorways are oatmeal, green ochre, dark ochre, mustard, dusty aqua, dusty petroleum blue, and green woodpecker. The beginning of this is extremely complicated. You do a crazy cast on. What is happening? Is this the one that's attached and it just went through the neck hole and causing all kinds of problems? Okay. So you like start at the shoulder seam and then you're like knitting all of it at the same time, and then the neck hole is steeked And the sleeve holes are steeked, but we're not done with the sleeve holes yet. So this is what we've got so far. I did, once I got a certain amount past the neck, I picked up and knit the collar, but here's what we've got so far. I haven't even completed a whole chart repeat yet. The chart is massive. It's massive. This is also supposed to be a decently oversized sweater. It's gonna have like 10 inches of positive ease. So it is gorgeous though. I do really love the colors I chose. So this is going to be on the needles for some time. I haven't worked on this in weeks because I've just been working on work. I did pick it up last night and knit like 2 rows, but that was it. Okay, final project. I only brought this bag up here because like a month ago somebody asked me how I was storing the sweet shop blanket. So I thought I'd just show you how absolutely enormous and somewhat ridiculous it is. That's it. This thing literally weighs like 10 pounds. Yeah. That's the blanket. It's in there. So if you were wondering what you could fit in a big ass bag from Black Pearl Magic, anything. Yeah. It's so big. Okay. So the Sweet Shop blanket is a pattern by Laura Penrose. I feel like we're like getting close to it being on the needles for a year. Maybe I'm wrong, but I started it on September 20th, 2025. So it hasn't been a year yet. And it's not quite close yet, but man. We've had a development since last I spoke to you guys. I originally needed 170 squares, but then Brett and I tried it out on the couch. Not big enough. So now we need 187 squares. Here's what the chart looks like. I currently need 31 more squares. So, it is slow going, but it is in fact going. I am determined to finish this thing this year. I'd take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, that's all the whips. I have not been spinning enough to show you guys anything. I'm still working on the BFL from Feederbrook Farms. I've just been having a hard time with it and haven't felt like dealing with it. So, acquisitions. I only have one. This whole time, just one. I got this. Lauren over at Treehouse Knits put up extras from her, what's it called? Advent last year. And I got a braid of Cosmic Dust on the Shanico Silk base. I really wanted it on the Rambouillet base because it has a lot more of this red in it that I thought was just stunning, but that wasn't an option. So, yeah, I got this. That's it. It feels so nice though. Like, it's so soft. I feel like if I can finish this sample project, then I will have the bandwidth to be able to spin again. Okay, book chat. I'm just curious how many books I have finished since we last talked. Because I have a feeling it's a lot. It's like even when I couldn't do anything else and I was just laying in bed, I was listening to a book. Okay, so last we talked was March 19th. Okay, I've finished 26 books since we last talked. Okay, so 5-star reads since we last talked. We'll go in order that I read them. Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. Loved that one. Oh my gosh, it was so good. The Sunbearer Trials and Celestial Monsters by Aidan Thomas. Loved. Fantastic, like, YA fantasy. Think like Percy Jackson meets the Hunger Games, but like slightly less horrific and trans. It was so good. I loved it so much. Then was my #1 most anticipated read of the year, Wolfworm by T. Kingfisher. It did not disappoint. It was so good. I originally rated it 4.5 stars, but I haven't stopped thinking about it since. So I went back and changed it to 5 stars. If I'm still thinking about a book a month after I finished it, it's 5 stars. Unless I'm thinking about how much I hated it, which is not the case. I loved this book so much. Then I finished and also gave 5 stars Gaughan by V.E. Schwab. This one is so good. If you're looking for a super atmospheric, gothic fantasy one-off, go read that one immediately. So good. I love an incredible standalone. And then, And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. Obsessed. 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 I loved the first one. The second one was just as good. And then, finally, I was so incredibly lucky to win this ARC in a giveaway. The Fake Divination Offense by Sarah Rash. This doesn't come out until May 19th. I'm so sorry. But I finished it the other day. Oh my gosh. It was incredible. If you read The Entanglement of Rival Wizards, or Nightmare Before Christmas, or Go Luck Yourself, this is the best one yet. The best one yet. Like, oh my gosh. It was incredible. I laughed, I cried. So good. So good. Okay, now what am I currently reading? I am currently in a weird place with reading. I can't decide what I want to read at any given time, so I am reading an absurd amount of books at once right now. I am aware that it's ridiculous, but I don't care. I'm the boss, okay? So, currently reading. Brett and I are still reading The Eye of the Bedlam Bride. We actually have an hour and a half left, and things are crazy. So we want to read it all at once, and we just haven't been able to carve out an hour and a half of time by ourselves to finish it. I'm hoping that'll happen this weekend, but we'll see. Then Heir of Blood and Moonlight by Lindsay Sparks. I only read this in bed if I can't sleep. A Bargain with Darkseer by Alexandra A. Parker. I got this one as an e-arc. The book just came out yesterday. I haven't finished it yet. It's very long. And reading a physical or ebook takes me a really long time. So that one's actually currently on hold because I was recently accepted into a book PR program with Rattle the Stars. So we kind of get opportunities to read ARCs and help promote them for indie authors. And so I accepted a book for that, and it's taking precedent because there were no strings attached with the Bargain for Darkseer. It was just leave a review whenever you finish it. It doesn't matter when that is. But this one that I'm about to tell you about, it has a deadline. So Tristan and the Magisteria by Corwin Rosewood. This one's technically not an ARC. The book is out, but I guess the author wasn't getting kind of the traction she wanted, so she hired Rattle the Stars, and a bunch of us are now reading it. And so you can expect a review from that one probably next week. I'm almost done with it, and it's really good. I really like it. I mean, pirates, magic, love it. And then I am also reading Silver Elite by Danny Francis. I'm only 2 chapters into this one, and so far I hate it. I'm hoping it changes my mind, but it's what I pulled off my TBR cart for this week. And The Impossible Garden of Clara Thorne by Summer N. England. I only started this one yesterday, and I'm only 1 chapter in, so I can't tell you really anything about that yet. I was listening to Silver Elite, and I was just getting annoyed, and I was like, I need something else, and that one has been on my list because it just came out, and it was available, so I started that one. So, let's talk about journal and reading things. So at the beginning of the year I started 2 reading challenges. One is the shelf challenge, which are just prompts, just random prompts for books. Like one is a book that's 400 plus pages, or a book with a sports item on the cover. So I actually finished this one with the sports item one because I don't really read sports books, but the Fake Divination Offense got me on there because it's a fantasy sports romance. So this one is now finished before even halfway through the year. And then I have the Decolonize Your Shelf challenge, and I'm still missing 6 for this one. I'm missing About the Land I'm On. It is difficult to find a book from a marginalized author that takes place in Ohio. Who wants to read about Ohio? Nobody. An indie published one, that will get crossed off when I finish Tristan and the Magisteria. A book I loved as a child. I think that one's going to have to go unfinished for the year, because all of the books I loved as a child are unfortunately by straight white men. Highly upsetting. But that may just be how it is. Book published between 1986 and 2006. I'm going to have to specifically look for a book for that one, because I don't think there's anything like on my TBR that's going to fill that one. Any like old books that are on my TBR are going to be like classic literature. Like we're talking like pre-1920. Anywhere between 17 and 1900. A book by a Palestinian author. There's several in my TBR that could go for that one. And Set in the Future. Again, many options for that one. I just haven't picked one up recently. And then how many books have I read so far this year? I am up to 66. And what else is on here? Oh, my new releases. I've read 8 of the new releases that I wanted to read this year. I am reading the 9th with Clara Thorne. And then I am waiting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to become available from the library. I've got my most and least loved of the year. There's least so far. And here's most. March was hard. There were like 3 contenders for March that were like top tier tied. We had Hazelthorn, Wolfworm, and An Entanglement of Rival Wizards all tied for best book of March. It was really hard to choose. I kind of just eeny miny mowed it. Because I couldn't. They were all so good. This month, I don't think I'll finish a book today. So this month, the top book is going to be The Fake Divination Offense. And the bottom book will sadly be The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Soto Yambao. It was just completely meh. I was so sad. I really loved Watermoon, so I was expecting something along the same lines, and like, yeah, kind of. The story was really interesting, and the world was really interesting, but the format of the book, I hated. Like, in between each chapter, there was like random, like, handbook guidelines for the Elsewhere Express, which I think they thought was going to be fun and quirky, but it really just pulled you out of the fantasy, and it really ruined it for me. I mean, but if my worst book of the month was only a 2-star, I think we're doing okay. Although I did have a DNF this month, so I don't know if that really counts as worst book. I'm not going to count it as worst book, but I guess you could. But yeah, that's it. I am so pleased to have finally been able to get back to you guys. Hopefully we can get back to weekly now. Hopefully my meds are good and we can get back to talking weekly. I would really like that. So, that being said, thank you all so much for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel in a different way, there is a link below to my Ravelry wish list. You can always buy me a pattern on there. It's obviously not remotely required, but always appreciated. Yeah. You can click the little notification bell to be notified of my next upload. And hopefully I will see you guys back here next week. Next week is actually my birthday. So, yeah. Hopefully I'll see you then. And we can celebrate together. That would be fantastic. I would love that. So, I hope you're all doing well, that you're finding time for yourself, and finding time to do something you love just because you love it. I love you all, and I'll see you back here next time. Bye.